Happy May the 4th to everybody out there. Seemed like a good day to release a new video here. In this game, I am playing my friend Oso. Got a classic Imperial versus Rebels game going on here. You can see I am starting with the Emperor's card and Vader's card as well, with kind of a weird setup going on here. If you take a look at the map, you can see no Seleucami and no RotE, with a Rebel Bothui and a Rebel Ryloth. That means there's going to be a fair amount of Rebel production here pretty early, unless I draw some great mission cards, which is certainly possible. Looks like the Rebels have C-3PO for a starting card, and maybe False Orders. We'll see if I can draw that out here. So I've been playing around with a new strategy here to kind of counteract Leia being put in position to block, which it looks like she may not actually be doing that here. Anyway, the new strategy I've been playing with is to play Gather Intel on like Naboo, then move with Vader and capture with Tagge to give like a 4-on-1 capture chance. Anyway, got 3 units in Utapau and a lot of units in the base, which means it's probably a pretty good opportunity to gather intel, especially if there's no Leia back to block. I do have a loyal Corellia, so maybe I run R&D as well on here. And putting some leaders out gives me a good option to pull out a False Orders, which he's going to grab Tarkin, and that will pull back my Gather Intel. Uh-oh. No, that pulls back my... what a disaster here. I have Tagge on Gather Intel. So, yeah. So I could pull that back at this point and ask for a friendly do-over, but I mean, after he played False Orders on Tarkin, that's kind of a lowbrow move. So I've got a little bit of a disaster of a turn 1 going on here. I mean, to be fair, Oso and I play a fair amount, and I'm sure he would have let me take that back, but yeah. Anyway, alright. So I'm going to have 3 movements here to make, and Tagge won't be able to do anything. So I think about using Vader temporarily, and then realize that I'm going to have to hold Vader back to block sabotage potentially. Because in order to salvage this mess of a start, I think I'm going to need to block Sabo, because I don't have Tagge on R&D, which was my original plan. So the whole thing's kind of a mess right now, but that's okay. It happens. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. I think it would make sense to... Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Go get an ATST. You can also see I have kind of a secondary deployment here where I have 3 main navies instead of 4, which is what I do oftentimes. Excuse me. Alright, so Leia's trying to sabotage. Vader will try to block. That'll at least save me a Star Destroyer here, hopefully. Yes, okay. That's good. And then Tagge is going to have... Oh, no. Yeah, that's right. Vader blocked it. And then Tagge will have to pass because I gather intel, which is a nightmare. Well, I hope everybody's been doing well. It's been a little bit since the last film. I have been sick with a cough, so I've actually had this edited for quite a while, but haven't been able to do a hour-long talk without coughing my head off. So we'll see how if we make it this time. 4th time's a charm. You also saw Riken there had contingency plan to grab another loyalty in Moncal. So now I definitely have a little bit of a mess on my hand. Got Moncal and Utapau generating Moncals, and Tagge didn't do anything functional. And yeah, at least I got a Star Destroyer. So now I got a choice. I can pull Boba Fett here, or I think Soontir is the other one. Why can't I see that? And I actually go for Boba Fett here, which is a little bit of a meme play, I think. I think I'm already irritated that I am facing two Moncals and also didn't get my fourth action on my first turn. So we'll see. Boba Fett it is. Alright, lots of Rebel units getting built. He's going to deploy a Y-Wing onto Utapau, and I think that's to encourage me to bring a Star Destroyer there instead of a assault carrier. You know, that's fine. One thing he's setting himself up for with deploying a Y-Wing there is I could gather intel on Utapau, and if he blocks it, that'll hold the Y-Wing in place, and then I can attack with the Star Destroyer and capture the leader that blocked the gather intel. You know, that might not be a bad thing to try. We'll see. Yeah, he's going to put that speeder back on the queue. That makes sense. And sometimes when you're starting kind of from behind on this, and there's a lot of rebel units in the base, you know, trying to draw probe cards and capture, maybe not a terrible idea. So we'll see what he tries to do. He does have Lando. You figure that's probably independent operation for the action card, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I did draw Lure to the Dark Side. So with Boba Fett, maybe I try capture lure strategies here. I also have Address Delay, which is a great card to have when you're about to land in Utapau. So I could attack Utapau and then play Address Delay. And you can see here, I'm thinking, you know, we'll try to lure out with Gather Intel, maybe do a capture, then also play Lure to the Dark Side, and then maybe another capture if I happen to get a Star Destroyer capture off on that too. That could be good. Yeah, I don't know. You have to be a little bit careful when you are playing Lure and Capture on the same turn, because what can happen is if the Rebels don't put a capturable person out in play, you can end up, you know, having to pass, which is kind of a nightmare situation. But he's got 4 people out on missions, 1 out ready to block. Lando goes to Rapid. That is a non-capturable leader. I think the right thing to do here is play Gather Intel and see if he wants to try to block it. If he tries to block it, then I can capture and lure with the Star Destroyer, which will be great. Instead, I'm just attacking. I think that's probably the wrong move. Yeah, if he, at least that way, if he blocks Gather Intel, then he is setting himself up for a capture. It's alright, though. I think I didn't play Gather Intel because I want to make him think that Tarkin might be on R&D. I don't know if that's right or not. Killed the Y-Wing. And then I've got a few troops to get rid of here. I played the Striker card to get rid of one of the vanguards down there too. And then I'll play the 501st to get rid of another one. And then he's left with just 2 infantry now. I think maybe if you're going to deploy... No, I think maybe instead of deploying a Y-Wing there, maybe you deploy a U-Wing. That way if I attack, yeah, you don't have bombing run, but with ion cannon and a U-Wing, you still might be able to take out an assault carrier. And then if I don't bring the Star Destroyer, then you could always deploy an extra troop down with the U-Wing card, maybe? I don't know. Alright, anyway, taking over Utapau, or at least trying to, and now what I do is retreat from battle with Vader to go back to Naboo, with the idea that 1 ATST will take out the 1 remaining troop down there. which this seems a little aggressive to do, but I guess we'll try it. So I'll do 1 damage, and they will play no card next round, which is good, but I will not do a second, but they will not heal. So that works. So I have Utapau under control, and now with the Star Destroyer back in Naboo, I can redeploy it out towards Bothawui if I need to the next turn. Alright, Infiltrate with Dodonna, so that is a capturable leader, so that's fine. And yep, okay, so Infiltrate's up. So now in a pinch we can always capture Dodonna. I'm going to try to lure out Leia here with Gather Intel, which will make Leia capturable if she decides to block it. Although I suspect he probably thinks something's up here, but, you know, either way. So I think he does suspect a capture. That lets me draw a couple of probes, so that's a good use of Tarkin. You know, you figure early on in the game when you don't have many planets covered, probes are more valuable. So I think early on, if you can get 2 probes for 1 leader pretty confidently, I think that's a good trade. Alright, Riken is on Build Alliance, which is unfortunate because that means Mothma's on Established Trade Relations. Also, the fact that Riken is taking Bothawui means that Mothma's likely going to try to take Ord. That's okay. We'll just let her do what she's going to do. I'm going to try to capture Dodonna here and then see if Leo decides to block. She does not. Okay. So I just need 1 success here on Dodonna. I roll 4. Dodonna is captured, and then he is going to be next up for Lure to the Dark Side. Now, interestingly enough, I did not move anything over Mon Cal, which maybe I should have done that first. I'm not sure. I think had I done that, then with Mothma taking the second loyalty out in Mustafar, I could have captured Mothma instead, which would have been nice, and then lured Mothma, but, you know, that's okay. We'll just take Dodonna here. So I've got a bunch of dice, 10 dice plus 2. Dodonna's got 8 dice plus 0. That should be a Empire win here. What am I drinking right now? I'm drinking some ginger orange tea, trying to fight off the remnants of a sore throat here. Alright, we've got Darth Dodonna. I don't actually mind capturing and luring Dodonna. I know he's not a super interesting leader, but he does plan the assault, and he is a common rescuer, so, you know, means Leia's got to do some intel work, which is good instead of blocking. That seems fine. Going to go ahead and block Bespin here. And then he's going to score regional aid, or regional support, which makes sense. Again, I think I should have waited on that capture, but we'll take Dodonna. Alright, Oso's going to run a rapid, so he knows what the bottom 4 probes are right now. I don't have super great probes yet. Just Dathomir, really, and Alderaan, I guess. We'll see what I draw here. And then I still have that address delay to play. And I guess that's part of the nice thing about retreating, is then I can just play address delay there right away and not have to worry about moving first. Pulling Felucia is okay. Pulling RotE is not great either, but you have to get the not great probes out of the way to get to the great ones, so that's okay. And we've got Jabba the Hutt with Bounty, or Sweep the Area with either Felucia or RotE, or maybe Ord or Utapau. Utapau might be nice with Sweep the Area. Yeah, I think that's what I go with. Yep, that makes sense. So I'll take Krennic's Finest, so now we're kind of leaning towards a capture game. The Rebels unfortunately draft Chewie with the Falcon. So Chewie means that we might get a demolition at some point, which would be played on Utapau, which could be converted into a capture, so that seems kind of good. Yeah. And the Rebels are down a hero right now with Dodonna, so, I think if, yeah, yep. I couldn't take Jabba, because if I took Jabba and then his card came up later for Ambitions of Power to let me get that other leader, I would have had to take him for that, so I would have felt kind of bad if I took Post Bounty. So that's okay. Krennic's Finest is just fine. And we'll see what the Rebels have got going here. So they've got 5 leaders. They've got Chewbacca on the Falcon, which means he does not have Wookiee Guardian, which is nice. And all 5 leaders on missions, including Chewbacca. So I'm kind of hopeful he's going to play Demolition or something to try to get rid of that Star Destroyer, and then maybe I can capture him. So we'll see. Let's see what I have planned here. Another gather intel, address delays, getting some loyalty on the map. Kind of a little bit of a catch-up turn here. And we'll try not to put Tagge on gather intel this time. So where do you guys think the base is? Seems like if I had all the forces on Celeste and Mandalore and Coruscant, that were probably like a Nal Hutta, Yavin, Ryloth, Dantooine probably? Tatooine maybe? Seems like you would set it away from the Death Star, so maybe Ryloth, Tatooine. We'll see. I think if there was a hit and run on the assault carrier down in Bespin, then I might be concerned about Endor or Hoth, but there hasn't really been anything going on there. So we'll just go about our business. Address delay on Utapau. It's nice to do Tagge on address delay because then he's also guarding against a sabotage. Although if I'm trying to get Chewie to do things in Utapau, then maybe I shouldn't have played Tagge there. I don't know. The dream is to get Chewie with sweep the area, because then that would also remove the Falcon, so that would be pretty cool. Alright, Cato in the middle of nowhere there, which is too bad. We can go ahead and gather some intel with Boba Fett. And he's going to let me do that, so we'll go ahead and draw cards. One, two, 3 more cards. Let's see what we get. So we've had some kind of mediocre cards so far, so we're due for some good ones. So for those of you counting, that's 7 probes so far, and here we go. Now we got Yavin, now we got Hoth, and now we got Malastare. Those are all good. Hoth is great because now I can just move the assault carrier down to Endor, and then I'm covered. So those are all nice. Yavin's nice because it's kind of the long way around from, Seleucami to Mon Cal to Felucia to Yavin. And he has just played Sabotage, not on Utapau, which makes me think Chewie might be on maybe Wookiee Uprising? Maybe Demolition? Anyway, now that Sabotage is played, I can go ahead and grab a project card, which is nice. And we'll put the onus back on the Rebels on whether or not they want to play Chewie's card or Leia's card. Chewie's on a hit and run. So this is an interesting hit and run choice. Obviously, I don't think he knows that I didn't know Endor or Hoth, but had he opened up with hit and run on a vulnerable assault carrier, like down in Bespin, I would immediately be very curious about Endor, because obviously I know Hoth, but that would be a thing. But instead, he takes the assault carrier off of Celeste, off Seleucami, which is totally legit. because I didn't move that assault carrier already, now I have to move the Star Destroyer, which means the Star Destroyer is now in a corner, which I don't like. And to come out of that corner, it's got to go to where Felucia, and I already know Felucia and Yavin, so it's probably just going to go straight back to Seleucami at some point. And then I've got the Death Star all wedged up in there too. So last move is an infiltrate. So the rebels will go ahead and infiltrate somewhere. Probably, yeah, Death Star's fine. I'm not on a capture, so. And let's see what we have for our last trick here. Rule by fear, I believe. And Krennic's Finest is moving to Alderaan. The reason we're going to Alderaan is because I've got to get to Cato. I do know that Alderaan is not the base, so I don't exactly know what I'm doing right now, but I apparently am just feeling like putting the Death Star into danger, so that's what we're going to do. Yeah, I don't know about that, especially since not knowing about Dantooine or Ilum, that seems like a little aggressive. And then Vader has to decide whether or not he wants to go towards RotE or Bothui. So I decide to not split my forces here, and I decide to take the assault carrier with me. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Okay, there we go. Yep, I decided to take the assault carrier with me because if he's going to deploy in Bothui, like say he deploys 2 Moncals in Bothui, then I have a little bit better of a chance to deal with them there. I can deploy a shield bunker and also my second Star Destroyer, which seems like that could be a good thing. And then now I have a Rule by Fear, and nowhere great to play it, really. So I'll just remove a loyalty from Moncal. I don't really love doing that at Moncal because of support of the Moncal, but, you know, we've got to keep rebel loyalty down at some point, otherwise they're going to start scoring all sorts of objectives. Alright, we got another Rapid, so Oso knows the bottom 8 cards now. And let's see how this end of the round goes. So no objective scored. He's not really close to supply lines. He's got pretty close to, I think he's at 6 loyalty already. We're getting into the area where he could have Death Star plans. I draw 2 probes, get Moncal and Nalhutta. So Nalhutta's actually pretty nice because that was a possibility. So maybe we're thinking about Kessel. Maybe we're thinking about Ryloth or Tatooine. There's still Dantooine. Still Endor, but I'm pretty convinced at this point it's not Endor. And I pull a Yahtzee and get Admiral Ozzel. Now, Yularen could have been a nice pick there. You know, I could have grabbed Yularen and dropped him in Megiddo to see if he was in Dantooine or Ilum. That would be pretty cool. But Ozzel is just too good to pass up. So we are deploying now. So let's take a look at what he's putting in the base. He's got a Moncal and a Nebulon in the base. That's a nice flexible way to go about it. I think he's probably hesitant to put both Moncals out in Bothui in case I deploy my second Star Destroyer in RotE. So putting the Nebulon in the base threatens that he may be going for the Death Star. So, you know, I'll have to see. I only have 1 yellow circle build, but I chose to build a shield bunker, so I'll probably drop that where the Death Star is. Yep, that looks right. And then I imagine I put the Star Destroyer up where that second Star Destroyer is with the assault carrier. Yep, that makes sense. So now he's got the Y-Wing, so he could attack in and try to knock out the Y-Wing, or, you know, again, he might just be discouraging me moving a Y-Wing there by itself. And then, you know, if that's the case, if he's trying to discourage me from moving there, or encourage me to moving with a Star Destroyer, what would that mean about the base? It means it might be more in the Ryloth area than the Kessel area, because if it was in Kessel, you would not want a Star Destroyer there. You'd just want my assault carrier wandering around. There also have not been any sabotages near Ilum or Dantooine, but there have been sabotages near Kessel, and there's been no activity outside of Loyalty down in Bespin, so I'm pretty sure that's nothing. And he's got Chirrut for a leader, so, you know, I gotta keep in mind his card, Baze's Loyalty, which can kill a 2 health unit of ground or space, so that's going to be a thing. And then also need to keep an eye out for Lando with independent operation still. Alright, I do have homing beacon, so I could try some homing beacon shenanigans. I'd need a couple leaders to pull that off, so I don't know. Looks like I will try Piet's card, build a Super Star Destroyer, gather some intel, and do a capture. Why not? You know, if I can pull a capture off and then get Jabba the Hutt with my next leader to run a homing beacon, that'd be pretty neat, because then I can keep Vader back to block a rescue with It's Your Destiny. That's really the major use of It's Your Destiny. It's to line up a torture card that you might not be able to pull off otherwise. So if you have It's Your Destiny and you're struggling with it, what you want to do is you want to start with a captured leader and then keep Vader back to block. Have your torture card be Lure to the Dark Side or Homing Beacon or something, and then if the rebels open with a rescue, you can block it with Vader, and if that block fails, which it likely will, he will then execute It's Your Destiny and capture the rescuing leader. Alright, Chirrut is attacking my Star Destroyer. Now, I'm pretty sure this is not the best thing to be doing, but maybe it is. So he's going to wipe my assault carrier with Baze's Loyalty. You know, and that's probably okay, because if he, you know, I mean, he could use the Y-Wing card instead, but what if I heal it? So that's okay. And I play the capture card. So that's the risk with flying in with a single starfighter, is if I kill this starfighter, then, you know, then Chirrut is captured. So we'll see. Now, he may have a rescue queued up as well, like Mothma might be on. Well, probably wouldn't be Mothma, otherwise you'd have Chirrut on that card. Well, no, I guess you wouldn't, because you needed Baze's Loyalty. So Mothma might be on a rescue card. Very possible. So, we'll see. Anyway, Chirrut flew into RotE, got captured. Boba Fett is going to do a gather intel. Leia is going to block. We should be doing the gather intel somewhere where we know we could pull off a capture afterwards, and because we're locked in, I guess we're not actually locked into RotE. Yeah, so he can block with Leia, then I can capture Leia later. I think that's how that'll work. Oh, yeah, I get it. Chewie's on sabotage, so he can just rescue with the Falcon. So that's fine. All right. So we've got Piet checking Ryloth. I'm very suspicious of that Y-Wing deployment for the base being in either Tatooine or Ryloth. And he does disclose that the base is in Ryloth. So, okay. So now what do we do with the fleet? Do we go to Geonosis? I don't know. However, because I pushed that mission a little bit early, Mothma can now build loyalty in Geonosis. And remember, loyalty in Geonosis is a problem because of independent operation. So you got to be a little careful there. However, I could move on top of Mothma and then capture if I wanted to do that. That might be good. And we will build a Super Star Destroyer in Utapau with Ozzel. Little risky. Or with Tagge. And Who else? Now we've got base defenses. Okay. It's getting to be a pretty strong base here. For those of you who have not joined the Discord, feel free to join the Discord channel. It's in our descriptions in the YouTube description section down below. We're just about getting ready to start our new tournament. This year's tournament, we're calling it Battle for the Galaxy. And we've separated people into two teams. You're either Team Empire or you're Team Rebel. The top Rebel player for this season, Grant, got to be the Rebel captain, and the top Imperial player, or the second overall ranked player who beat me out by a little bit, was Archangel, and he is the Imperial captain. And it was pretty cool because what we did is we did like a draft where you would draft other people to play on your team, and then each team member plays one game against a random opponent from the other faction. So you're having like a battle, right? Empire versus Rebel. And then whichever team has the most wins at the end of it will be crowned the team will win. So you might lose your game, but if the Empire wins most, then that'll be a thing. I may do like a last man standing thing, so if you win your first game, maybe you play a second game after that, and we'll see. But I'm trying to make this one a little bit more accessible for everybody else. And let's get back to the game over here. So Tarkin moving to Seleucami with the idea of needing to cover some of these other places. So I'm not ready to launch a big attack on the base yet because if I go to Geonosis and he deploys another Moncal and a Nebulon, then I've got a huge Rebel fleet charging into my 2 Star Destroyers and Assault Carrier, which isn't going to be very good. So I am just going to take it slow. The Rebels haven't been scoring a lot of objectives, so Vader went ahead and crushed Bothui with the idea that, hey, maybe that Star Destroyer is going to go to Tatooine, and I can hem the base in from a couple of different angles here. That could very much be a thing. Alright, so Rebels have sabotaged. They sabotaged RotE. They got base defenses. They gained loyalty. Now Lando's going to be up to something. Probably a rapid, I would guess. And I am positioning myself around the base without leaving myself in striking distance. So moving out of RotE into Naboo lets me build, which is nice. And let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, Lando passes. Interesting. Couple more nice probes. Get Bespin, get Dantooine. So now it's mostly thinking about where he can rapid to. So he's got Ilum in the bottom corner, Endor in the bottom corner, and a couple of spots in the middle. So this turn I definitely need to get my Assault Carrier onto Endor. And then now I have another choice. I can either take Boba Fett's card or I could take Veers. Now, I drew Planetary, so the correct thing to do here is actually to take Veers, even though I'm already overloaded on Fist Icons. Probably take Veers and lose Krennic's Finest would be my take on that. I can run Planetary with Veers, have it succeed, bring an AT-AT, and use Veers' action card to wipe out both structures, both the ion cannon and the shield bunker, which is great because both of those make it hard to deal with. So, make the base hard to deal with. Alright, they did deploy their space units close to the front lines here out in Geonosis, so that makes me kind of excited because I would like to attack them. However, I do not want to use up Ozzel yet, so it's very possible the Rebels may just retreat here right away. We'll see. What I really should be doing is releasing this on Revenge of the 5th instead of May the 4th, but, we'll pretend to be good guys for once in a while. Alright, so we've got Rebels with 6 units out. They're missing Dodonna and they're missing Chirrut. Both of them are captured. Or actually, they're missing Leia. Leia is captured instead of Chirrut, it looks like. Okay. So no homing beacon, but I will try to carbon freeze. And if I carbon freeze, what I should do is make sure to keep Vader back to block. Because if I block a rescue attempt, play It's Your Destiny, capture whoever is trying to rescue Leia, and then carbon freeze them, that would be pretty cool. And then I could load up with another capture attempt after that. And then they'd be missing Lure to the Dark Side, carbon, and capture. I like that. Alright. See if we rule by fear. We will with Tarkin, and we'll R&D with Ozzel. Okay, that makes sense. Dodonna's still going to pull some probes, and as the rebel base thickens up, we'll just keep drawing extra probes. So they're going to start with a rescue attempt in Bothui, and I'm going to go ahead and block it with Vader. So here's how this works. They're going to roll 2 dice and need a not 0. And then they rescue. I play It's Your Destiny. Leia is free, but Jyn is captured. So now I can capture and carbon Jyn. And I might as well just go ahead and do it now because there's no sense in letting the rebels stack other leaders on top of that. So we'll play carbon to convert Jyn into carbonite. And I have Vader there already, so I'll be rolling 5 and 2 greens against a green and a red. So that should go swimmingly here. And see how we do. It's enough. Okay, so -1 objective point. So right now the rebels have scored regional aid and popular support. So +2 -1 for carbon. And now the rebels only have 3 missions left. And I have another, I guess I don't have another opportunity to capture, which is too bad. Next turn. Alright, sabotage with Chewie. Oh, that's right. Yep. So now here's where this works out nicely. Chewie on Utapau. So I do have the ability to try to capture again, but Chewie's also a sitting duck on Utapau. So maybe, did I need Boba on capture? Maybe, maybe not. Probably a little excessive, but we're going to stick to it. And, if I can capture Chewie, then if they rescue him next turn, maybe they leave somebody on Utapau and I can capture him that way too. So, might as well try. See what else they've got going here. So what am I thinking about at this point in the game? So on some level, it seems like we have a good lead, right? I got a reasonable size force near the base, but I'm having trouble with the approach because I can't just leave a half-cocked Imperial fleet out in Geonosis. Number 1, because of independent operation. Number 2, because 2 Moncals and a handful of fighters is a nightmare to deal with. So, got to be a little careful with that. Lando is attacking to free up Chewbacca? No, he is attacking to win a battle in a sabotaged area, I believe. And then we'll see if he removes the sabotage or not. That's got to be seize control, I think. We'll see. Yeah, so he's going to seize control. That wins the combat. Then he decides to retreat. So that's fine. That is a technicality where you can do that. And he's going to keep the sabotage in place, so score that objective. That was a nice move. All right, so now I've got a capture. I'm just going to try it on Chewbacca and see if he brings another leader into block, maybe. He does not. That's okay. Or at least I don't think he does. Maybe he does. Alright, let's see how we do here. No Chewbacca. Okay, that's fine. I do have sweep the area, so we'll end up getting them anyway. Alright, so Rebels are now building alliance in RotE. That seems fair. Doesn't want me to rule by fear and then, you know, remove the sabotage, so wants to take some precautions there. That makes sense. And I move stuff up to Malastare just because I need some units in to deal with these two Moncals that are going to be basically in the base here shortly. Now, I also have a couple of Star Destroyers coming out on the queue. That feels pretty good. And a Super Star Destroyer 2 spots up. So both of those should be nice additions to the fleet. Now, keep in mind, Oso has looked at 8 cards, and we don't have that many probes left in the area. So we'll see. The Emperor is going to attack the Moncal here. The idea is, you know, the Rebel fleet is disjointed a little bit right now, so I have an opportunity to kind of defeat them in detail. So we'll see if I get lucky here. I can either flip the combat, or I can play the TIE Fighter card to do a couple points of damage. I flip the combat. They will block hits, I imagine. Yep, and then flip the combat back. That's fine. I don't mind either of those being played, even if this attack is unsuccessful, because I pulled those cards out. And okay, I got 2 crits. That's not bad. Maybe I can take out that Nebulon. Yep, 3 crits. Okay, 3 crits in the black. So I can take out the Nebulon, and I can take out the U-Wing. And we'll see if he rolls any heals. Excuse me. Alright. 2 red damage. 2 rerolls. Oof. Alright, he takes out the Star Destroyer, but does not heal. So a Star Destroyer for a Nebulon and a fighter. Early on in this stage, I think I take that, especially because I got 2 more Star Destroyers on the way. And see if the Moncal decides to stay or not. He might be worried about track them, maybe, but I mean, I don't have another fleet to move, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Alright, gonna play I played the cancel card, and he played hold them back, so that cancels the hold them back, but I roll a couple of blanks. 2 more, 2 hits. Okay, not too bad. So now, if you're Oso, do you retreat with the Moncal and risk giving me a leader back? I'm not too worried about what that leader is going to do. Or do you stay and try to kill fighters? Maybe you do that, but I have a TIE Fighter card, which is going to do 2 damage. So I think you probably have to retreat here. Guess not. Okay, I'll do 2. I guess he might be trying to cycle back to his Moncal cards. That's probably exactly what he's doing here. And then, so I do 2 damage and roll 1 more hit. So 3 hits total. So he can retreat after this still. Takes out 1. Takes out 2. Then a reroll. Okay. Now I think you have to retreat because I have a laser. And I'll take out that last Moncal. So, yeah. He's debating on it. We'll see. I'd be very happy if he stayed. I don't think he stays. Yeah, he doesn't stay. No way. Alright. So now what? So now we've got two Moncals still, but they're separated. You can't retreat into a hidden base, so he is just on top of Ryloth. So this becomes an interesting decision point for him. So he does a Incite Rebellion in Naboo with Chirrut and is going to free up Naboo to deploy as well. So here's the challenge. So because his Moncals are separated, I will have first opportunity to do some damage. So I could, what I'm thinking about right now, is I could use Ozzel to clear the one Moncal if he doesn't reveal the base, which it looks like he did not. So, do you reveal the base if you're Oso? If you do, you can only deploy 2 units in Ryloth going forward. You won't have the hidden base ability to deploy in the hidden base, so you can't double deploy on the base, essentially. I think you have to reveal the base, because if you reveal the base, you at least pair up your Moncals together. Otherwise, you're leaving them open to be Ozzled. I could take out one single Moncal here, which would be a huge win. And then if they attack me after that, then they're the aggressor and I'm the defender. Alright. So let's see how the end of this turn comes together here. Okay, couple more probes. And we've got a captured Chewbacca with Sweep the Area, so that's fun. Now, here's an interesting move too. I could also Homing Beacon and then release Chewbacca into the, into the base, but then he can't move out of the base if I do that. So maybe that's the thing I do. Or, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, so here's the decision to make. What do I do with the Star Destroyers? I'm going to put them both in Geonosis. And then I think the only thing that really makes sense to do is to take out that one Moncal. If I can do that, then he just has a Starfighter and one Moncal left, and that's not too scary, especially with the Super Star Destroyer coming through. I do have a shield bunker. I could drop that in where the Death Star is, maybe. You got to be thinking about where is he going to rapid to, because we're getting pretty close to the bottom of the deck, so he's going to know what he has there. But he's also short leaders quite a bit now. He's lost one to Lure, one to Capture, and one to Carbon. So he's 3 down, only has 5 to play. And Lando just did an independent operation in Geonosis, so I couldn't trigger the base with Ozzel. I don't know if I would have triggered the base with Ozzel or not. I don't think so. But I get the logic of why you might want to do that, so that seems fair. Alright. So what to play here when planning our assault on the rebel base? I think I need a clear a sabotage. That would make sense in case he sabotages Geonosis and then I can't deploy there. So being able to deploy with Construct Factory seems pretty nice. I did toss Homing Beacon. I do have Planetary Conquest and am wishing I had Veers. But before I assign leaders, we'll just go ahead and do an Ozzel attack onto Ryloth. Now, here's the thing. Even if I had ground units, which I don't, I would not be bringing them because I do not want to trigger the base. I only want to pick off this one single Moncal. And again, this Moncal could not retreat into the hidden rebel base last turn because it was exposed, or it was retreating from a battle, which doesn't work. All right, so we're going to play one leader in there. That seems fair. So if I don't kill it right away, it can retreat back to the base and become annoying. And let's see what I do for dice. All right. Looks like extra damage. And we have to remember that the Moncal is going to get its card back with this next cycle. So they did cycle their card. Would you retreat if I don't kill the Moncal? I don't know. I think I just try to kill it. And not a great roll for Leia. Nice. Okay. So that works pretty good then. So that Moncal is toast. The fighters are toast. I am now over the base, which is still hidden, but we all know where it is at this point. So, yeah. All right. So what do we run here? Do we run Planetary Conquest and try to reveal the base? I think if I had Veers, it would be a no-brainer to do that. But I do not. So we've got Boba Fett and I've got Blindside, so that seems okay. He's got Chirrut back. There's only 3. So you only have 3 heroes right now? I guess that makes sense, because Lure, Carbon, yeah. Lando being out. Yep. Alright, well I have a plethora in leaders, so I just need to get these last few ships on the map, and then I can feel pretty good about taking out this rebel base. I've got all my stuff assigned. Chirrut is going to attack Utapau, which makes sense because he did deploy in Naboo. Deploying in Naboo, he'll likely be able to defeat this little contingent of troops here. And if he does, he will release Chewbacca. I don't mind too much if he releases Chewie, because if he releases Chewie, then the base is stuck and he can't attack out of the base. So I'm not going to be totally heartbroken if this happens. But we might as well try to keep him intact if possible. And let's see here. Yeah, his other move is he could reveal the base now that he has a leader there. He could reveal the base, which would immediately trigger combat with my 2 Star Destroyers. And then he could be subscribing to the same ideas, which are defeat the Star Destroyers in detail too. So maybe that'll be a thing. All right, for now, looks like he is saving Chewbacca. And killing some units. He's killing all units. He cannot score removing a sabotage marker. I have the Utapau probe. I'm not too worried about it being loyal since it's sabotaged. I'm just going to leave well enough alone. But here's a good example of, had I captured Chewie, then I could be capturing somebody else with Sweep the Area here at the end of the turn. So that's okay. Alright, let's see if we can get our timing right on here. So there's only a couple of people left. And I am going to run a detain on Leia. Now, that's an interesting move, I think, because next turn, if he wants to attack out of the base, and he wants to reveal, he will be stuck using not just with not being able to move out of the base, but he'll also be stuck using Leia to fight, and he won't be able to add another person in there. So, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's going to build an alliance. It's okay. we're just going to keep marching right along here. Can do a gather intel, draw some cards. Again, that Piet mission was nice because it just allowed us to identify directly where the base was, and then we can just work on our staging a little bit. Alright, drawing 5 cards this time. So Geonosis is good, Ilum is good. Get that middle of the board wrapped up a little bit. And then now we're just down to Ryloth, basically. Ryloth and Bothui. Which, okay. Alright, so here's what's happening. So he is revealing the base. So at the beginning of your turn, you can reveal the base. Okay, that makes you the attacker. And if the base is revealed, you need to use whatever person is there to fight. And you immediately have a combat, but that is not your whole turn. So my last card is Imposing Presence, which is a good one. That'll keep the Star Destroyer alive. And what I'm thinking here is I just need to go for the ships. If I have criticals, I'm going to put them on fighters and maybe the Corvette. Now that they now that they got their cards back, they're going to have the Corvette cancel card again, which I don't love. You know, he is the aggressor, but I will be the aggressor another time, so we'll see. Alright, see how they roll. Right, and then I forgot he also has ion cannons out, so I'm only going to be rolling 2 red dice over the base. Pretty tough. Definitely missing Veers right now for the planetary. Alright, that appears to... no card. I say block 2 red hits. And... okay. See how he does. I'm not sure what the best path here is. That's okay. I mean, for my sake, it's going to be killing starfighters. So I'm going to try to get those 2 Y-Wings. He is doing a bunch of damage here. I block red hits, but not criticals. Okay. So he can overkill 1 Star Destroyer. He can spread the damage out. I think it just depends on how many rounds of combat he wants to do here. And how desperate you are. Right, so if I had 8 tokens, I think I would do 4 to each. Because I only have 7, I think you have to do it all to 1. Because you just need to make sure that 1 guy collapses. So I think that makes sense. Alright, or at least 6, because I'm only rolling 2 heals. But if I rolled 2 heals, he wants to make sure at least that 1 Star Destroyer is dead. Plug a podcast I'm listening to right now that I'm really enjoying too. It's called The Age of Napoleon. It's a little bit of a different theme here to Star Wars, but it's like over 100 episodes, and I'm episode 86 in. Really enjoying it. Looking forward to the new movie coming out too. So with Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, so I get a crit, a red, and a black hit. So take out the Corvette, which is nice. Now here's a nuance. So pay attention to what's going on here. So I am debating on whether or not I want to retreat. However, I am not the attacker here. And Judge Chalky, or my friend Doobie here, is going to point that out shortly. So the rebels are actually the attacker, even though they haven't yet taken their action yet. So the rebels actually get first choice on whether or not they want to retreat. So the rebels can retreat to Geonosis, which is unoccupied, or they can retreat to Tatooine if they want to do that instead. So they have to figure out what they want to do. Now, they could not retreat. Let me retreat to, say, Geonosis. And then the rebels can take their action and attack out of the base into Geonosis. Now, they couldn't actually do that because they already have a leader there. So the only way they're actually going to be able to move is with the retreat. So here's the next piece. If they move and retreat with Leia, then Leia is going to be detained where the fleet is. But if instead they retreat with Chewbacca, who was rescued earlier, then the fleet will be free of the detain problem next turn and be able to attack out aggressively. So it's a very interesting little nuance we have going on over there, which I think is pretty cool. Don't see that very often. So, all right. What do we got going on next? We've got, so now that the rebels retreated, now I need to make a decision on whether or not I want to retreat my single Star Destroyer. And I can either keep it over Ryloth or I can retreat it to Tatooine. So I decide to retreat to Tatooine. And I decide to retreat to Tatooine with Ozzel so I can keep Tagge in Ryloth to help with the planetary assault if I want to go down that route. Alright, and on top of all of this, it's still the rebels' turn. So, because the attack is not their move, so then they have to play their other mission, which is sabotage, and they get that off. So, wild little turn there, I think. Alright. So rebels are done. They've moved all 2 of their leaders or whatever, and I have a whole bunch left. So Vader is going to take everything from Bothawi to Tatooine to try to get ready to launch an assault there. I'm going to have 2 Star Destroyers, an assault carrier, a couple of AT-ATs, AT-ST. I'll bring Jyn along too. And here's the thing about coming up next. Right? So why bring Jyn here instead of keep her behind? Well, if I decide to attack next round, if I don't build a shield bunker here, I can attack next round and leave Jyn behind. She will then go into the rebel base and become the only leader that can defend there. So if they had Chewbacca behind, for example, they could not send Chewie to the land battle because Jyn is already there. And she has 1 ground strength instead of 2 or 3 if they had a 3 strength unit. So, again, a little bit of a nuance. I am also moving everything else to Naboo. Keep in mind they played Lando's card already. So, even if I don't want to attack the base, I could just attack into Geonosis. But I don't have Ozzel anymore, because I used Ozzel to take out that 1 Mon Cal. So we'll see. Alright, doing a rule by fear in Naboo. Trying to clean up some loyalty problems. Then I need to figure out if I want to try a planetary or not, and if I do a planetary, what would be the purpose. And so I don't do that. So I pass on Construct Factory, and I pass on Planetary Assault. Both of those I think are going to be important for next round. I still have a couple of turns left here before I run out of time with objectives. Alright, let's draw the last card here. So I go ahead and draw Bothawi. So now the rebel base cannot flee unless he's got plant false leads. Okay, so how do you guard against plant false leads? You make sure to have somebody on gather intel. That's a good way to do it. Or somebody maybe on intercept transmission, because most everything's covered right now, but not everything. You could grab Ilum, for example. So, I think you just play gather intel and hope for the best. And we're now deploying. And I have a lot of stuff to deploy, including a Super Star Destroyer. So I think I have to put that in Naboo. I think I put a shield bunker in Tatooine because I decided I would rather have the shield bunker there than do my little, make-believe trick here with Jyn where I let her go and then force her to defend the base in some sort of weird scenario. I guess also because Leia's there defending the base right now. So the rebels are down to 5 leaders again. That feels pretty cool. Could have been 4. And I deployed the super and the shield bunker out and just kind of spread these other guys around. Okay, so they have 4 missions out and Lando back. That makes sense. Lando can fight the space battle. They could be doing plant false leads, hidden fleet, rapid mobilization. Actually, they couldn't because Lando's not on a mission. They only have 2, so they could be doing a hidden fleet rapid. Probably a sabotage and a build alliance too. I don't know. Seems like a good idea to put somebody on planetary. I am also thinking maybe I do a secure the plans. Is that what Vader's on? I'm not sure. I don't know about that. But we'll see. And then I have 4 people left to move. So because Lando's gone, I think it might make sense to consolidate on Geonosis. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to attack piecemeal. So we'll see. Lando is figuring out what to do. He initially is thinking about attacking Tatooine, which is why all the pieces are on the board there. Or he could go for the super and take out the bigger fleet, or try to. Or he could retreat and go back into the base too. That's a possibility. Not the hidden base, but could just go back to Ryloth. He's also got his troop transport in Utapau that he needs to think about. And detain isn't going to hamper him anymore. So if you're the rebels here, what do you do? I mean, I'm sure it depends on your objectives, but he's going to go ahead and retreat back to the base. Nope, he is going to attack. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. That's a hard question to answer. I guess you could also move your... Yeah, he's just going to retreat. Retreating puts Lando in the base too. That helps defend against planetary because you have the second fist icon. It gives you 2 and 2 instead of 1 and 1 to fight battles with. That all seems pretty good. And what do we do here? So I think we just bully our way into Geonosis and start the party. Maybe. Maybe we torture Jyn and grab a thing. Yeah, maybe. Alright, Emperor's going to move to Geonosis. And we're going to move everything. So what do we got? We got all 4 AT-ATs together. That's pretty fun. We got some stormtroopers, tanks maybe. And so we should do a base check for what he's got here. I don't know for sure, but he's got a lot. It's like 4 or 5 speeders. So, we'll see. The only real thing he can do that's going to cause problems here is going to be plant false leads, and depends on how lucky he gets and whether or not I can cover it. So like a nightmare scenario would be hit and run in Bespin to kill that assault carrier, and then, rapid to Hoth or Endor, let's say. Yeah, I don't know. But I do have a Star Destroyer to deploy, so maybe it's not so bad. Either way, I should have a guy on Gather Intel, but I'm not actually sure if I do. We'll see. Dodonna is ruling by fear. Nope, I don't know what he's doing. Dodonna was blocking the rescue attempt, and did. And then we'll go ahead and do secure the plans here and see what 2 objectives the rebels have that they're considering scoring here, and that'll give me a good idea as to time pressure. So capturing has really kind of paid off this game. You know, I didn't intend on going into this on kind of a meme game. I mean, taking Boba Fett pushed it a little bit that direction, but it also felt kind of necessary to catch up a little bit from being so far behind. Now, with this shield bunker in Tatooine, that does open up a little bit of a problem that I didn't leave at least one trooper behind, because then I can't redeploy a shield bunker there if he sabotages it. I don't know. Alright. Vader is... Vader's grabbing time for peace or decisive victory. So decisive is going down to the bottom of the pile there, and he can keep time for peace, which that's not getting scored anytime soon. So the rebels functionally have no objectives, which means, you know, maybe he scores 1 in the next couple turns. It means I really have 3 turns to put this thing down, so I don't need to push extra hard. Chewie is going to sabotage this bunker, and this is the exact reason I was saying it might have been a good idea to keep a stormtrooper there too, because now Tatooine is open. I'm going to go ahead and move Krennic's Finest into Geonosis and just hang. And then Riken and Mothma left. Let's see what they're up to. And it's Plant False Leads, everybody's favorite card. Alright, let's hope that he draws 4 systems that I am currently sitting on, which would be nice. And, you know, the good news is because I've got Boba Fett on Planetary, if there's a really bad card that comes out, I'll be alright. I also have Tarkin on, you know, Fear will keep them in line, so I got a couple of bailouts. He's got Ord, which is uncovered. What else? Tatooine, Dathomir, and Toydaria, all of which are uncovered. Boy. Alright, so let's do an analysis. So here's what you do with Plant False Leads. You say, how can I try to react to cover them, right? So first off, if you're rebels trying to do this maneuver, you do it last. So you probably do rapid first, let me use another leader, and then do Plant False Leads after that. The more leaders the Empire has left over, the more ways they can react to Plant False Leads. So I do have guys next to Toydaria. I don't have anybody next to Dathomir. I do have people next to Ord, and I do obviously have people next to Tatooine, but I only have one single movement left, so I can't cover everything, and I do have Planetary. So think about what you would do here to counter Plant False Leads, because we know he's going to get 4 rapids here, or he's going to rapid and look at all 4 items, and I didn't play Gather Intel, so I'm not going to get any of them back. So I decide to move the Death Star and the Star Destroyer to Mandalore. The reason is because then I just have a Death Star in Mandalore, no Star Destroyer. That lets me check Dathomir and Ord next turn. So, you know, I'm going to draw 2 probes at the end here, so I might draw one of those 2, and then I might know which direction I have to go. So that's a possibility. There's the rapid. Okay, so now what do? We do a construct factory. We're going to go ahead and do it in Seleucami, so I can deploy next to Toydaria if I need to. I mean, maybe there's a weird you know, situation where he attacks out of Toydaria and kills my Star Destroyer. I don't know. I got planetary here, and I have to either go to Ord or Dath, right? If I go to Ord, I can then just cover Dathomir. If I cover Dathomir, I can go to Ord, but I feel like Ord is the right path there. Now, what that does do is that prevents me from attacking Ryloth now, or reinforcing. I could have done a rapid on Geonosis and just dropped off more people there too. That could have been a thing. All right. Anyway, long story short, couple things happened. The base did not move. Um, the base did not move. Dodonna was on a mission, and I drew Dathomir. So I knew, well, and I knew the base didn't move. So with Dodonna on a mission, I played Boba Fett Ware on the Death Star so that the Death Star could not be planned the assault against in case that's what he drew for Death Star plans. So because of that, the only move left was Lando coming out to Geonosis, where I cannot spend a leader to defend because I need to attack the base. I mean, I guess I don't really need to, but I think I need to. So that's what's going on right now. And the reason that was edited out is there was a bunch of nonsense that happened in between. But the take was he couldn't move to Toydaria, he couldn't move to Ord. Well, I mean, moving to Toydaria would be crazy. Couldn't move to Ord. Very risky to move to Dathomir. And no real point in moving to Tatooine. So best to just attack out of the base, see how many of these Star Destroyers you can kill, and then maybe soften up. Maybe I can't bring everything into maybe I can't bring everything into the base. I don't know. So he flips the combat. I roll a bunch of crits and a bunch of black hits, and I'm just trying to kill the fighters first, because if I can get rid of that fighter screen, then everything should be fine. So he doesn't roll a bunch of heals, does roll a bunch of hits, and with those hits takes out the Super Star Destroyer. Yeah, that's probably right. I mean, what you really want to do is take out transport here, right? Oh, and he scores major victory too. Okay. Because if you take out the transport and the Star Destroyer, you're taking out 10 troop transport instead of 8 from the Super Star Destroyer. So I think that would have been maybe a little better. I don't know. Dice-wise, it's the same. And then you probably need to take out the Striker too. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I at least get the fighters. That's good. Doesn't look as good as it did just a second ago, but getting rid of those starfighters is nice. So we have one Moncal, no more Moncal card, one Nebulon, no Nebulon card, but he does have the transport, and I don't have any fighters left. So I will flip the combat back to him. He'll go first, and I played no card next turn. Was my card that I played last round, so he can't play anything here. So now I know he will not be able to heal damage that I throw out this turn. He did roll a perfect hit of 2 hits and a heal, 3 hits and a heal. Okay. Just going to take out a assault carrier. I think that's probably right. I think you probably have to do an extra damage on another assault carrier. I think you can't. You just have to rely on me rolling pretty bad here. Okay, take out the Nebulon. So now it's 3 Star Destroyers and a Striker against a Nebulon and a troop transport. So, I mean, I think we have this one in the bag. And so far, not making a huge difference with transports. If you count the units on the left, have about 14, 14, I think. It's Kind of cool to see all 4 AT-ATs together, I'm not going to lie. So let's see what the Moncal can do. We probably need extra damage. He says I can't heal. I do a damage on the Moncal, and then he's got a couple, one heal, 2 more rerolls. Needs a couple of hits. He can take out that assault carrier. Okay. Need some hits back. Yep. Yep. Okay. Still alive. See, had he left that 1 damage over on the Moncal, or on the assault carrier last turn, I'd be down that assault carrier as well. Alright, 1 more round to combat. I do another damage to the Moncal. Hopefully it goes down here this turn. See if it'll take out that last carrier. It does. Yep. And then I can heal, but we'll see. Trying to figure out transport now, but turns out I'm in pretty good shape. I would have liked to have had that extra 3 or 4 units from Planetary Conquest last round in here too. Get an extra AT-AT and a couple of troops, or AT-ST and a couple of troops. Okay, I take out the Moncal and the carrier, and I have 3 Star Destroyers left. I attack the base, and then here is 4 AT-STs, 4 AT-ATs, a tank, some troops, and various other things. So he has 1 shield bunker here. So you have to open with the AT-AT card, I think. And then he does tow cables, which makes sense. Now you can't open with the shield bunker card if I have an AT-AT, because the AT-AT will eliminate the shield bunker and then you won't be able to take advantage of it. So you have to open with tow cables. That's the right move. I also had, according to my design with the Emperor, I think I probably should have brought Vader instead of the Emperor. But according to my design, he rolls 1 less red dice, and I wanted him to not do heals. So for me, the most important thing was for him not to roll heals, because I have lots of extra hit points. He's got 5 speeders, so he's got 10 hit points, and I have like 20 hit points or so. So I just need him to not heal. So I'll do lots of damage here, hopefully. Yep. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 damage. 3 to troops, and then the way I like to do damage in these situations is just to do even damage to everything, and then if they heal, then I'll just say they can't heal the following round on all their damage things, and then hopefully that'll be okay. So they have 2 dead speeders, 3 dead troops, and 1 wounded speeder. Ooh, yikes. Okay, that's kind of a rougher roll than I would have liked to see. Lando did good. A couple of heals in there. Okay. So my AT-AT is dead. According to my design, did not impact too much. They're healing both speeders, so they have 3 wounded speeders. And they're doing a lot of damage to my stuff. So keep in mind, if you're Oso in this situation, think about what is gonna do the most damage to you. Yeah, it's probably the AT-ATs, because the AT-ATs are rolling 2 red dice for 3 hit points, and AT-STs are only rolling 1 red dice for 2 hit points. So yeah, you probably take out the AT-ATs, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. Maybe AT-STs. Alright, but he's still got 5 and 5, so that's pretty good. Because he's got the 5 speeders, and he's got an ion cannon too. My last card is no heal, and I'll see what he plays here, but I think I keep that. Yep, he plays that. So I will stick with no heal, and he plays his last card, which is the shield bunker card. Okay, that's fair. I am going to roll, and I need hits. And I don't get too many. 2 hits. 2 hits. Okay, I don't love that. That wipes the two wounded guys and a troop. But because they can't heal, then a good dice roll doesn't do them too much good here. So, okay. So now I need not too great of a hit from Lando here, because my forces are starting to whittle down a little bit. It's pretty good. Okay. Let's check that. Reroll. Okay, he can't heal, which is nice. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That's an AT-AT. And a couple of troops. An AT-ST. Oof. Alright. Down to 1 AT-AT. Couple of troops. I think now that I have those 2 speeders down and they're only rolling 3 red dice, I feel a little bit better about it, especially, well, he's got tow cables back now, though. Alright, I gotta keep doing damage. I don't really care too much about them rolling second, or maybe I do. You know, the question is, do I flip the combat now, which I decide to. Okay, he does tow cables. I could have taken advantage of heals here if I needed to, but I probably needed to do the AT-ST card. Alright, he's going to tow cable, and I'm down to 3 AT-STs. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay, he rolls first. I'm going to need a good roll here, I think. The blacks aren't very effective. The reds are. Okay, whew, that was luckily not that great of a roll for Oso. Okay, I'm going to roll back. There we go. 1, 2, 2 hits for 2 speeders. 2 more rerolls. Okay. 2 speeders down. And a troop. He's down to 1 speeder. Whew, 1 speeder and a ion cannon left. And honestly, man, if this battle doesn't end up going my way, I don't have any troop reinforcements down later, so I have to see how that goes. Luckily, I have the AT-ST card left. He can do 3 damage total and wipe 2 AT-STs, but he cannot heal his guy. And because of that, next round he can do a maximum of 1 damage with the shield bunker, or with the ion cannon he's got, and I will have my ATST alive and my 3 Star Destroyers. And because he will not have rolled a card, the ion cannon is dead, and then the game is over. So that was awfully close. I appreciate you guys watching. Happy May 4th. May the 4th be with you, and see you around.